Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I was 11 years old the last time inflation ran the way it's running right now. Inflation up again. You know, for all the talk of masking to unmask, kids in school to unmask, what's going on in the Ukraine, potentially the Olympics, and, you know, the other social battles that go on, all of that is always peripheral for most people because the day-to-day of what we do in life is happening, and that's work. That's going to work. It's making money. Consumer price index rose 0.6% in January, driving up the annual inflation rate by 7.5%, the biggest gain since February of '82. Then they talk about earnings, right? So people say, you hear, and this is, we're going to talk a lot about this today, the misinformation, disinformation, half information, which is my favorite. They throw the word salad out there, right? The jumble of stuff. Well, we've prices are going up, but man, more people are making money than, you know, it's the highest raise that people have gotten in years. So inflation rose by 7.5%, but just 0.1% is what workers' pay increased. It's great if you're making 5% more than you did last year, but if stuff costs 10% more than it did last year in some places, 6 in others, you're still losing. You're still losing. As good as a week at the end of the week that Biden had, killing the ISIS guy, whoever he was, because we're still unsure about that, and then getting the numbers that surprised everybody on Friday with the job numbers, people are like, whoa, look at that. And I said, take a knee. But you still have to come out because you got a long way to go. And inflation jumped. It did. Signaling, again, rate hikes. Remember how we had more savings in the history of savings than we ever had in savings before? That's dwindling fast. People are taking on more debt. Even if though they had debt, that debt's getting more expensive as rates get ready to rise. For all of I created more jobs in the history of mankind ever. And this economy is great, but it's not really great because the average person doesn't feel it's great. The thing I've always looked at when it comes to whether or not we're heading into some issues is consumer confidence. Because if people feel good about their money, meaning they've got some, they're going to continue to make some. They're not worried about their job going away tomorrow. They're not worried about their job having to cut hours. If people feel good about that, then they spend. They travel. They purchase. They participate in said economy, and that's a win. But when confidence is low, even though people have jobs and there's jobs available, but they're unsure about where we could be going with the pandemic. They're unsure about, supply chain issues. They're unsure about whether or not the rates are going to cause the businesses to see business decline because money got more expensive. When people don't have confidence in that, that's a big worry. All the other stuff to me means nothing because if the consumer's not going to spend, I don't care what your charts and historical data says. 7.5%, not a win. Not a win for the president today. I can't blame everything on him. Just like I can't blame everything on the last guy and the last guy before that. Are there things that you could do? Yes, there are some things you could do. Are they addressing these issues? No, not in particular. I can't think of anything. I will say Mark Kelly, who is a Arizona senator who's running for re-election, he has John McCain's seat. Martha McSally had it before him. She filled in, and then she ran, and she lost. And he is up for re-election. He is proposing, and he may get some help with this, dropping the federal gas tax, having a holiday till January of next year, at the end of the day, it's only 18 cents. If you're in California, that's great. It goes down 18 cents, but that's it. It's not like the feds are saying, hey, states, take all your gas tax off, which people go, oh, my God, that'd be great. No, it's not that. Is that something? That's about it. There's not a lot going on, kids. There isn't. There isn't. And while that's going on, we're still talking about the other thing, the giant mask fight. States across the country, in particular blue states and blue cities and blue counties, are saying, well, you know what? The changing winds of science, I mean polls. Did I say science? Yeah. The science of polls is telling them it's time to go. While some places are saying no. Jen Psaki.
We understand where the emotions of the country are, right? People are tired of masks. I would say not even if you look at the polling, though. There is also a huge chunk of people who still want masks, right? So it's not even that specific. It's just that, as you noted, there are some states that are moving towards rolling back or giving more choice to local communities about how they will implement these requirements.
No, actually. Please show me the human beings that want masks. Show me the person that wants a mask. Show me that person. Oh, there are people out there that are afraid that they're going to catch something and die, even though they're boosted, double shot. You guys have all done good enough to show and terrify enough people into that. By the way, there's a study out that the CDC did, about 1 million people, big study, 700,000 people who were vaccinated, and 300,000 that weren't. Who, out of the 700,000 people that are vaccinated, out of the 700,000, 36 died. All but one were over the age of 65 with up to 4 comorbidities. Everybody under the age of 65 who'd been vaccinated, 0 deaths. Show me, again, as you follow the science, where exactly is this group of people that apparently a large group of people, according to her, that do want to remain masked? Because I can tell you it's nobody under the age of, 65. Show me that person that's clamoring for mask. Please continue, CDC, as she says, because it's always about the CDC. Well, here is somebody from the CDC, Mrs. Walensky.
While we are working hard to get out of this crisis mode, we do need to look downfield to see what living with COVID outside of crisis will look like.
It looks like what it looked like before, just that we have something else now that we have to take a shot for every year, maybe, and that we might have a new variant every once in a while, and we have to hunker down for a couple days or weeks or whatever. That's what it is. It's nothing else than that. What does it look like? It looks like what 90% of the country looks like that doesn't live in Los Angeles. I would say New York, but New York said yesterday, yeah, we're done. We've had enough.
This is trending in a very, very good direction, and that is why we are now approaching a new phase in this pandemic. So we had a mask or vax requirement for businesses. It was an emergency temporary measure put in place literally 2 months ago. And at this time, we say that is the right decision to lift this mandate for indoor businesses and let counties, cities, and businesses make their own decisions on what they want to do with respect to masks or the vaccination requirement.
Yeah. How about this? Everybody live your life. Everybody live your life. And this is where you get the tone deafness of many of these major cities, and including especially D.C., where they live in a bubble. Everybody else is in the groupthink world of them. They seem to think that everybody's clamoring to get their kids vaccinated, which we know is not true. If you go look at the numbers, what is it? It's about 1 in 5. And under 5, you're going to get some people that are nuts. Was it somebody said the other day that it's going to be like once they give the opportunity to get little kids vaccinated, it's going to be lines for days. It is not. It is absolutely not. You couldn't get younger kids under the age of 18 vaccinated in real numbers because everybody, quote unquote, followed the science, and the science said, yeah, it doesn't do anything to kids. at all. And by the way, transmission to adults didn't do anything. Science is great till the science doesn't support whatever it is that you're pushing. And that's the frustration that people have. Understanding the first month or two into this thing, we're trying to get our bearings, and there's no real data that's coming out because the Chinese lied, hid, and by the time this thing got out, everybody was behind the eight ball. Here we are 2+ years into this, and they're still playing this game. Inflation is through the roof. The rest of the country is getting on with their life, but you still have people at the federal level and in some places like Los Angeles County and Santa Clara County. Santa Clara County in San Francisco, up near San Francisco. You guys want to know how absurd they are? This is the story of singing. They are the ones who at the beginning of this fined a Mexican restaurant, I think it was, because they played music with lyrics, which could cause people to sing, which could cause the spread. They're keeping it on. Mostly uppity, uber-liberal white folk are keeping it on. Oh, my God. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. While all the rest of that's going around, we're looking and going, it's going to cost the average family anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000 extra dollars at this pace just this year to live. You're making decisions. Savings may be out of the way now. You're not like, I can't do that anymore. I can't put $100 or $200 away every couple weeks. And that rainy day fund is going to be exhausted, and the chance of building it back up, not for a while. But you continue to say, hey, these 8 kids here, they knew somebody who had it, so we should make sure that they don't go to school for 2 weeks. Good God. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Some Olympic news coming up. Crazy stuff out of ESPN. It was very interesting about, we know how woke they are, but a guy who no longer works there, he's kind of let it all out of the bag, which a lot of people already knew, but to hear it from also people inside ESPN is very, very, very telling. And the crack pipe debate. If you don't know what this is, I don't even know what to say at this point in time. Mostly not about whether or not it's true, because you're never going to find out if it's true or not based on anything you hear from the White House. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Car Shield, 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. Shop's the shop that you choose, and this is if you got a car. You don't have a warranty for it, but you want to protect it. Cars, by the way, are one of the driving forces behind inflation. Used cars in particular, they've shot up. So you want to protect your car. How do you do that? Well, CarShield has plans for anybody to fit anybody's budget. And that's great. Like I said, you take it to the place you want to take it. If you go and you get a plan and you're covering your full engine and all of a sudden you've got a real problem, you take it to them. They're going to handle the paperwork, the expensive payment. You pay a small deductible. Over 1 million drivers have been helped by CarShield. Why not be one of them? Go to carshield.com/Benson today. Find out how you can save, plus save an extra 10%. Carshield.com/Benson saves you 10%. Carshield.com/Benson. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
The excitement, the communism, the dictatorship, the cheating? What? Olympics going on, obviously, in Beijing, the Communist Kung Flu Olympics happening. And we got some more golds. We got 2 more golds today. So our Nathan Chen and Chloe Kim go back-to-back. He's a ice skater, and he's like the best in the world. She, I think, is a snowboarder. So that's how much you know about those things. But what everybody's looking at is what's going on, again, with a certain country that's not there, but oddly enough, their people are. Russia, for those of you who don't know, can't participate in the Olympics because of statewide cheating. Oh, yeah. They cheated as a group. Hell, I don't even know if all of them knew what was going on because at this point, you're kind of a ward of the state when you get to a certain level, regardless of what people say and some of the freedoms they have. But their superstar skater, who, if you watch her, she's 15 years old, and people aren't saying she's the best in the world now. They're saying she's the best of all time. She hit the quad. That's 4 in a row. Camila Vieileva. She's 15. Day one, she's the favorite to win the all of the medals that she's going to do individually, and she helped them win the team skating side of the events. Well, lo and behold, there are issues.
You said a potential doping case, and I think that's complete speculation. But in a general point, what I would remind you is that very much that the IOC delegated both testing, management, and sanctioning in doping cases to ITA and CAS. To avoid even the appearance of a conflict of interest.
Which a lot of people were worried about, that, the Chinese and the Russians were going to make sure that their people magically never had issues. The big issue here is she took a drug that's supposedly to help you with chest pains. She took the test, though, a few months ago, and it's just now coming out that she tested positive for this thing they call, the short term is TMZ, and it's supposed to help with blood flow. Now, is there an advantage? I don't know. Did she really have chest pains? Why are we finding out about this now? But remember, Russia's in trouble. So they don't give out medals. They have a ceremony later. You get panda bears. They've not had the ceremony, and it's now legally in the hands of people that aren't really participating in said Olympics because cheating. Would I be surprised that Russia cheated? No. This is our surprised face. Now, will there be any action? That's what you have to watch out for. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson. Sure, your Twitter, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Oh, they've got the new rankings out of the world's most and least democratic places. We're falling, by the way, and there's a reason for that, because of Nancy Pelosi and stuff.
Not only do we have the D.C. jail, which is the D.C. gulag, but now we have Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police spying on members of Congress, spying on the legislative work that we do, spying on our staff, and spying on American citizens that want to come talk to their representatives. This government has turned into something it was never meant to be, gazpacho, and it's time to make it end.
It was turned into a Spanish dish, a cold soup made of raw blended vegetables. It originated in the southern regions of the Iberian Peninsula and spread into other areas. The gazpacho is widely eaten in Spain and Portugal, particularly during the hot summers, since it's refreshing and cool. I think the word you were looking for was Gestapo, not gazpacho.
If your Gestapo men were as efficient as my men, you wouldn't have these problems.
Wohl, Herr Kommandant. No prisoner in this barracks was out of my sight. I didn't take my eyes off them, not for a moment. I watched them like a hawk.
Fräulein, get me General Mueller, Gestapo Headquarters, Berlin.
One of the great, amazing shows of our time, Hogan's Heroes, which is really weird. Like, you would never do that today. But if you go back and you watch that show, you're like, some of these people were in the war. And they're doing a comedy about war. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Gestapo? No? Gazpacho? Are you really? Really? Speaking of the actual rankings, we have fallen yet again. Yet again. The percentage of the world's population living under some sort of democracy tumbled from 49.4% to 45.7%, according to the Economics Intelligence Unit's Democracy Index. Of 167 territories surveyed, just 21 were deemed to be full democracies, representing 6.4% of the world's population, while 53 fell into what they called flawed democracies. The UK were a flawed democracy, 18%. The US, which was given a flawed democracy classification, we sit at 26. 26. Here are the top 10s from 10 to 1. Switzerland, Australia, Taiwan, Ireland, Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, Finland, New Zealand, Norway. Those are your top 10. The bottom 10 from 10 to 1. This is interesting. Hong Kong, Nepal, Pakistan, Vietnam, Cambodia, China, Laos, North Korea, Myanmar, and Afghanistan, which I don't even know what you count that at this point in time. It's just an area where there are a bunch of awful peoples. You count that as a country at this point? But why did some fall? 3 jumped into the full democracy zone: Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, which, as we know, is not a country except for the part where they are. What do you think of that? What do you think of those apples? Gee. But it was interesting what they said. And this is something I think we should, as we talk about the masking, the shutting things down, the global insanity. The IEU, the Economics Intelligence Unit, said the results continue to reflect the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic, citing measures such as lockdowns, travel restrictions. The report said the pandemic had resulted in an unprecedented withdrawal of civil liberties among developed democracies and authoritarian regimes alike. Translation: they grabbed power, and they're not giving that power back. Oh. It has led to the normalizations of emergency powers, which tend to stay on the statute books, meaning when they grab it, they never give it back. They accustomize citizens to a huge extension of state powers over large areas of public and personal life. The creeping authoritarianism that has accompanied the pandemic raises questions about whether, in what circumstances, and for how long governments and citizens are prepared to undermine democracy rights in the cause of a public health emergency. For as long as they want is the answer that you're looking for. And we've seen it. The blue states right now are trying to figure out how they get out of this, because they have kept everybody freaking out for long enough, and the pushback has come. Polls are evident. They're going to get hammered. They're also looking around, and if they're really doing the science, they're going, we did all of these things, and Florida wasn't the worst. Texas wasn't the worst. Nothing changed. It's kind of, we're all ended up in the same spot. Yeah. That's where we are. We're no longer the beacon of full democracy where we look over here. We are flawed democracy because people wanted to cede power to local governments and the federal government to please come save us because the risk they thought was so tremendous based on the information they were getting. And even when they had information placed in their hand via the computer, paper, whatever it is, and they saw that the risk was minimal, they didn't give the powers back. They just stoked more fear. That should frustrate us all. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Yesterday, somebody tweeted at me, because that tends to happen. I try to read everybody's tweets. I don't always answer back because, people just want to fight. Some people they will fight for anything. This person says, again, at Chad Benson Show, spews BS in 30 seconds. I had him on in my car, says Dems giving out crack pipes isn't popular. Meanwhile, doesn't mention his own state was a bipartisan solution to get addicts treatment. Here, I never talked about that yesterday, so I'm like, I don't think you're listening to me. But the crack pipe thing is interesting. Not whether or not it's true. It's a great thing to talk about because we love to fight over stuff, and this is something you seize upon. This is really very little impact on the large swath of society. But what it does do is it does anger people, and it gives them an opportunity to raise money, and that's what you run on.
The Biden administration is going to be sending crack pipes and meth pipes targeting minority communities in this country. I know that sounds insane. I know that sounds too crazy to be true. They confirmed it yesterday. They call them smoking kits, and they say it's about equity, but they have in essence confirmed that they're going to be mailing and sending pipes that can be used to smoke crack and meth to underserved communities in America. This is insanity. This isn't even about liberal and conservative anymore. This is about crazy versus normal, insane versus common sense. Where does this end?
So what struck me, though, was the attacks, right? Everybody threw out there, tax. No, the federal government isn't spending $30 million on crack pipes. This is the fact check in Washington Post, right? So I'm like, okay, so that's not true. They never say if it's true or not on whether or not these kits are going to have crack pipes in it. They never say that. At no point do they dispute it. What they do is they do the, oh, you're not interested in helping people survive? Oh, you're not interested in this? You're not interested in saving people and stopping them from getting infectious diseases and helping them with anything else? No, you're not interested in that? That wasn't the question. That was not the question. The question is there going to be crack pipes in here? Is this true? Yes or no? Well, it's inaccurate. We want to put out information to make that clear, Jen Psaki said. The safe smoking kit may contain alcohol swabs, lip balm, other materials to promote hygiene and reduce transmission of disease like HIV and hepatitis. But is what they saying true? That's it. What's in it? That's what we're asking. You're saying it's a lie, but you're not telling us yay or nay if there's something in there. The question's simple. Are the crack pipes in there? No. Okay. So if we find some in there, you're going to say, oh, that's a company that we were, outsourcing to or whatever. But if we find them in all of them, that's a lie. And if we don't find them, it's simple as that. It's a yes or no question. It's not, well, we're just trying to save people. Don't you like saving people? No, they need to like saving people. This is an addiction. They've got to, you heard they had to take that first step. They have to admit they have a problem. They're not going to because you're giving them a free crack pipe. Can't be this bad. They're handing me free stuff. They never answer it. And so I looked just to find out if there is any moniker of truth or lies in this. Because as we all know, in politics, truth is it's a relevant term. It's relevant. It's like with Fauci the other. People they're going and looking and saying, did you for the last several months, were you part of the NIH funding the Wuhan lab when it came to gain of function? We did not do gain of function. What we did do is we did fund research on taking animal variants of the coronavirus and altering them in a way to give us an opportunity to potentially protect ourselves in the future should something like this occur. But we call that altering blah, 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 blah. It's word salads and semantics. Same thing here. That's the frustrating thing. It's $30 million, right? I mean, in this day and age, it's stupid. It's joke money for the government. And the reality is you want to get people off crack. You want to get people off, off these addictions. And we're not talking about people that, who are doing drugs kind of willing. We're talking about people who are doing hardcore drugs. Those people are usually in the streets. So either you're going to put them in true hardcore rehab places, and many of them by now have an addiction that's so bad that mentally they're fried. That's the reality of it. This is just a way for somebody and their cronies to come up with some good idea to make sure you look like you're trying to fight some sort of drug addiction. And at the end of the day, it's a way to hand your buddies $30 million. That's it.
Republicans aren't perfect, and God knows we're not. But the other side is crazy. Think about this. President Biden has decided to take $30 million of taxpayer money from his emergency COVID bill that he passed with Democratic support last March.
Lip balm, other materials to promote hygiene and reduce the transmission of diseases like HIV and hepatitis.
And he wants to use it to facilitate the smoking of crack cocaine and meth.
Yeah, and this is not new. I mean, we give out needles in places now and all this stuff. These people don't care. They're going to smoke whatever they want to smoke, and if this is just something free to get, they're going to use none of this stuff, and you and I both know that, and it's a waste of money and time, and, oh, you shouldn't be like, no, I'm just being honest, right? That's the honest assessment of this. The lies come from nobody can ever answer a question straight out. Nobody can. And when fact checkers go and fact check, it's always funny that one side puts something in context or it's nuanced, and the other side is you're just a liar. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. So my dog Doodle, which I love, I give him Rough Greens every single day. I give my puppies Rough Greens as well. They eat it up. I didn't change anything. Right. So when Rough Greens sent me the supplement that goes on top of their food, go through it. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. Oh, it's great stuff. They said, I'm like, do I have to go get all this, like super expensive food? They're like, no, just give them the food that you always give them. Put this on top. This will help bring that food alive and give them the nutrients that they're missing. In the 2+ years that I've used it, my dog Doodle has lost weight. He's got more energy. He's got a lease on life. His joints don't hurt. That's a win because we thought we were going to put him to sleep. That's where we were with our dog Doodle, who we love. One of the animals I would take with me. I'm telling you guys right now, Rough Greens want you to try it before you buy it. They're putting their money where their mouth is. You do the same. A free bag of Rough Greens. Not going to cost you anything other than shipping. It's a small couple bucks. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Sign up today. Roughgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
What we're going to do is step back and look at everything we're doing today, reevaluate that. Everything from looking at the Rooney Rule and seeing what changes should be made to that, if any changes, or should it be removed, which some people have suggested. All of those things are part of that. We're going to talk to other people, have independent people come in and look and help us evaluate it, because it's sometimes hard to evaluate your own policies and procedures, and make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to create that opportunity for everybody, to make sure that we are an inclusive league and make sure we get the outcomes we want. And that our policies really, truly are effective with outcomes.
Roger Goodell, again, the NFL looking, it's like 70+% of the players are black. Here you are, the Super Bowl, and now you've got one of their former coaches who was fired earlier this year after 2 back-to-back winning seasons with the Dolphins, accusing the NFL of racist hiring policies, and then suing every single team, plus talking about the fact that he was asked to throw games. I mean, this is your big event, right? At a stadium that there is no equal on earth right now to SoFi Stadium. There is no equal. Zero. Zilch, nada, no equal. As we come out of the pandemic, you've got all of this stuff, and this is what you're talking about. And you've got the home team hosting a game, and you've got the surprise team maybe of the NFL in the last umpteen years playing in it, the Bengals. So we broke down, let's get to the game. We broke down offense. We gave a smidge of an edge to the Rams. Defense, a little bit more of an edge. Now special teams, this one will be easy. Special teams, not even close. Simple and easy. It's not the Rams, but the Bengals. The Bengals have the guy, Evan McPherson. McKicker, they call him. If you've not seen this cat, he is hilarious. During the regular season, he was 28 of 33. Postseason, 12 of 12. That includes victory kicks across the board to get them here. And he is hilarious. He's got ice in his veins. He's a rookie. He played at Florida. during the game at Tennessee to win the game, he looked at his coach and he feigned an injury right before the kick. And he said, I'm just kidding, coach. We're going to the AFC Championship game, and nailed it. To get them to the Super Bowl, he looked at the punter and said, dude, can you believe we're going to the Super Bowl right before the ball was snapped? They've got the advantage there. So far, advantage, offense, defense, Rams by a small margin. Special teams right there to the Bengals. Tomorrow we'll do coaching and then give you the pick. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program across, we got the Getter. We got all of those things. Go ahead and knock yourself out. I try to answer as many as possible. You can DM me and all those things. Just don't be crazy. I don't ask for any, I don't care if you're crazy. Just don't be Richard. That's it. Like, how hard can it be? Can't we just not be Richards? You guys get that? You understand what that means? You don't? Look it up. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Inflation is rising, kids. Oh, no. No matter how fast you think that your paycheck is going up, inflation is starting to get away from everybody and everything. In fact, we're doing stuff we haven't done since the 80s.
The last time consumers paid this much more for goods and services year over year was 1982. The Consumer Price Index jumped 7.5% last month compared to the same month the prior year. Cars, appliances, and furniture accounted for much of the increase. Consumers want them, and there aren't enough of them to meet the demand. Grocery bills are higher, too, as transportation costs and worker shortages remain high.
That's correct. And other things, fuel being like the thing. Fuel? Yeah, fuel. The fuel. With fuel going up, fuel is, how do you think your stuff gets there? You don't think the bacon walks over, right? Oh, no. By the way, plastics, stuff, packaging, that's in many ways petroleum, oil. Think of things like that. It's crazy. This good week, like good Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for Biden. Bad day today. Bad day. Because this is what people feel. Like, other stuff might be emotional for some people, but the average person who doesn't live in the fringes is like, they feel this. They're like, dude, my gas overnight. Now, producer Phil, you're living out there in Arlington, Virginia, and now that Anthony lives here, he gets to play in my gas world. What are you guys paying, just out of curiosity?
It went from $3.18 to $3.45 in about 3 days.
That's what happened here. I went from $3.33 to $3.55 from, like, Tuesday to Thursday. I was like, what? No end in sight. People feel that. That stuff they take to what? Anyone? The ballot box. Oh. Yeah. They take that to the ballot box. Currently, the magical world of oil, it is sitting at $90. Brent crude's trading at 92, different form of it, but it's right around in between 90 and 91 bucks. Some people are calling it for it to go to 120. I think a lot of that's going to have to do with what goes on in the Ukraine that could spike some of that stuff. Plus, as we pretend to, as we start to get back to living in a world that's not pandemic but endemic, I think you'll see more and more businesses, especially if the worker shortage that's going on starts to change a bit, and workers can have people come in more rather than trying to give some options of the hybrid. Not that won't still happen, because I think that was inevitable anyways. With technology, it was inevitable that we were going to get to some sort of hybrid work situation, because, you just don't need the space. You don't anymore, right? And you can have, but that's also going to put pressure on a lot of different things besides the supply chains and the fact that pandemic-wise, Even though we're starting to live as the endemic side of things, we're looking at this thing, look, we're done. We've all moved on. The CDC can say what they want. Fauci can say what they want. Some counties and cities across the country, I'm going to give you a hint, they're in blue places. They're going to continue to hold on for as long as possible. But by and large, most everybody's living their world like they were pre-pandemic. No matter, like, they were like, how do we get to pre-pandemic? What's that look like? It looks like it's always looked for the last God knows how long. That's it. But all of that is going to put pressure on the economy. Inflation going up. Bonds are over 2% for the first time in like a decade. Money's going to get more expensive, and people's money, it's not going as far. Anywhere between $3,000 and about $4,000, in some cases $5,000, depending on where you live in the country, is what it's costing extra, like a family of four, which they always do as a regular family, but a family of four. So the average person is going to be paying about $250 to $350 extra a month. And we all know that's crap, because most of us are paying anywhere between, if we're just getting the bare necessities, maybe you're paying an extra $200 or $300. If you're doing what you were doing before, you're probably paying closer to an extra $400 or $500 a month extra just in groceries. Where do you feel that? In your wallet. And where does your wallet also get connected to? Your voting. And people are looking and going, you know what? As many people died under your watch as the last guy, and you had the vaccine. You might get us into some sort of other skirmish in the Ukraine, which is a debacle. And by the way, gas prices through the roof, inflation through the roof. You're a nightmare in Afghanistan, and the border is a disaster. So while you're not on the ballot, you're totally on the ballot. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. We'll read some of those in a little bit. One of the other things that's interesting that's not being paid attention to by the mainstream media, the legacy media, whatever the hell you want to call it. They're not paying any attention to this. But there's a big trucker issue that is taking place in Canada. And I just love watching people flip out about it. And if you've not seen, Trudeau's just a buffoon, and he's ever present in buffoonery land as the king. And it is just... oh, my goodness. But it's always this that makes me laugh.
You need to end the pandemic by relying on science, by public health measures, and by vaccinations.
And so this trucker protest that's going on, that, again, some people are paying attention to, not everybody, but I just tell everybody, take a look at it because it's interesting. And it goes back to some of the stuff we always talk about. It is the disingenuousness of mainstream legacy media, whatever the hell you want to call it. I just always call them establishment media. And independent journalists, eyeballs for the average person. I saw a headline yesterday that said, anti-vax trucker protest. I think it was in the Washington Post and I thought, 90% of them are vaccinated. 90% of them are vaccinated. Let's do this again. 90% of the truckers are vaccinated. Zero to do with vaccines. I am pro getting a vaccine. I've looked at the numbers. Latest study out of 1 million people that have been vaccinated. And they did this study, 700,000 people that were vaccinated, 300,000 that weren't. But they did this study, and this is when Delta was, doing its thing, and I think there was still some of the OG, it's the original. Out of that, under 65, so out of the 700,000 were vaccinated, under 65, 0 deaths. 0 deaths. In total, 37 deaths over 65. of those, a majority were much older and had up to 4 comorbidities. One was a death of some, I don't know, I got hit by a bus or something. I don't know. Had nothing to do with the vaccine. But that's I just look at that and I go, okay, the data I have, I'm good with that. I'm not an idiot. I don't think there's a 5G chip in me. I don't think this is the blacklist and they've got some RFD chips and they can follow you around in any given. I don't think any of that stuff. I don't think I'm magnetic. I am pro using the science, looking at the vaccine and saying, you know what? For me, it was worth it. Mostly because my on-air partner for my local show is a hypochondriac, and to shut him up, I'll take anything. But all that being said, if you didn't take one, I didn't care. What I didn't want, and what they always portray it is if you're against mandates, you're against vaccines. That is the dumbest thing in the world. But it goes back to like racism, right? Oh, you criticize Stacey Abrams for taking a picture. And the only reason you do that is because it's racism. No, it's because it was a stupid thing to do, and it looks absolutely awful. And you just gave your opponents the only thing that I need to mail them, email them, any pictures, any moving pictures, or we like to call them commercials, any of that stuff. That's all I need right now. Across the nation, the hypocrisy. But the minute you say you're against masking or you're against this, it's always you're transphobe, you're this, you're anti-vax. No, anti-mandates. Disingenuousness of the media, which we've known for a very long time. And when they say trust the science, my question is simply this: whose science do I trust? The Europeans have not masked at all their kids under 12. Didn't stop school. They do not recommend vaccines for younger kids. Whose science do I trust? That's a fair question. And you don't know anymore, right? And that's the problem when you have disingenuous media people that are looking for, and they're media, they've stopped being journalists a long time ago. When you have a disingenuous group of people that are more interested in telling you a portion of the story, it's like we talked about with the crack pipes. They answer a question by giving you a word salad of baloney and then accusing you of not wanting to wanting to spread disease if you don't support it. But I didn't ask that. My question was, they say these smoking kits, people are saying and reporting there's going to be crack pipes in them with some other things. Is that true? Well, there's going to be this, and this. And so it's a yes or no. I don't care what the other stuff is. It's the one thing I'm asking. And if you ask it, it's like, oh, it's because you like to kill people who are on drugs. It's like, okay, that's where you're going with that. You're not interested in really answering the question. Because if you answer the question, you're going to be held accountable for the question and that answer. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Lots of stuff to get to. We're going to do a little what's trending. Plus, we're going to talk about what's going on in the Olympics, ESPN, and its insanity. And wait till you hear about this new show from Showtime that even some of my progressive friends are like, yeah, this is insane. This is what are we doing? What are we doing? Wait, one thing that we have learned about this entire pandemic thing is we need to get fit. And sometimes it's the loss of 30 or 40 pounds, right? But then sometimes you're like, I need to lose a ton of percentage of body fat. And that's where Calibrate comes in. Calibrate's great. What it's going to do is it's going to help you through science and biology, real stuff that took years to put together, that got through the FDA side of things to be approved by the FDA to help you reset your metabolic system. Calibrate works because it is FDA-approved medication with changes, small changes that are real, sustainable changes, not something that is crazy, insane. No. What you're going to get is one-on-one video coaching, in-app tracking. Community members are going to be there so you can talk about all the stuff you're going through, and a video doctor visit. On average, Calibrate's earliest members, they lost well over 14% of their body weight But now they're probably up to 20, 30+% of their body weight. It works. It absolutely does. Fits into anybody's lifestyle. So don't let the willpower thing. You can sit there all day. It's about your metabolism and your metabolic reset. How do you get that to a point where your body feels comfortable at a lighter weight? This is where Calibrate comes in. Right now, join $50 off a 1-year metabolic reset. Use code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. That's joincalibrate.com. Code CHAD. Joincalibrate.com. Code CHAD. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let us find out what's trending on the old interwebs, if you could. New York mask mandate trending, but not in schools because even though they're of no risk whatsoever, and a majority of the teachers are vaxxed and triple vaxxed and wearing masks, they must continue to be held in some sort of weird mask prison for whatever reason. Bob Saget, we know how he died, apparently head trauma. His family said that he had hit in his head, and then he went to bed, had a brain bleed. At least that's what's being reported. A lot of people are like, that's suspicious. It happens. You know, I think a lot of people thought he had a heart attack or something like that. But it looks like it was an accident. Oh, whoa. Tribtamazine? Trimtanzidine? I don't know. TMZ is what they call it. Not that place. But that is the drug, supposedly, that is in the system of the young skater from Russia. People are like, what the hell does this drug do? Can it help anybody? Is it really a substance that is going to help you in competition? Still no news on whether or not she's going to be suspended. And let's be real, whether she wins or loses for the next couple of days, there'll be a court battle over should they get medals. I've heard everything from they're not going to give her a medal, but the other 4 in the team competition, to all of them are getting a medal and she'll be reprimanded, to they'll be disqualified for everything. Oh, that's crazy. National Pizza Day, always fun. Kids, always fun. Let you guys know that. Head on over to Twitter, where people are arguing about God knows what. Man, it's amazing what people can argue over. But there is a lot of stuff that you can argue over. Donald Trump, did he flush a bunch of stuff down the toilet stuff? Oh, Al Franken says he might run for re-election or, you know, whatever it is. He's going to get back in the race. Beijing 2022. We finally got medals. We're sitting, I think, tied for 5th in overall, but we got now 4 golds, I think. What? Crazy. And, of course, the insanity of the ongoing military tension between the Ukrainians and Russia. Oh, it's crazy. How close are they going to war? Well, they're getting ready to practice right next to each other, which is so odd. We'll talk about that. And then all the crazy love that they're giving Eileen Gu is driving me crazy. It should drive you crazy, too. It absolutely should. Because she's a traitor. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Olympics are going on. Ratings suck. I have not watched any curling, though. I'm going to give you a breakdown of curling later, just because I find it fascinating. It's the only thing I ever see, because when we go in and I do my local show in the studio, we have all these TVs up there, but CNBC had said on one of them, and they have curling on. So I was watching it yesterday. Our American team, the men, fabulous. This one guy, he looked like from Eastbound and Down. He had the mullet of mullets. They have trucker hats on. And his mustache was 70s porn all the way. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. But we have won some medals, oddly enough, in skiing.
America now has the first gold medal ever in this event. It's a team that's made up of men and women. There were 3 people on it: Ashley Caldwell, Chris Lillis, and Justin Schoenfeld. They edged out China to get that gold.
Good. But speaking of China, NBC, I guess, has gushed. I've seen some pieces on it, but I've not seen that coverage. But I've read a bunch. And then Sports Illustrated and a bunch of other places. In Insider today, meet Eileen Gu, the teenage freestyle skier and Louis Vuitton model who chose to represent China over the U.S. at the Beijing Winter Olympics. Now, this isn't one of those things where, we've got another skier that is representing Malta, right? She is finished dead last and everything. She has no chance of winning anything. And she readily admits that. By the way, she only took up skiing a few years ago. I think she was a skateboarder. And her grandmother, and mother are from Malta. But what she didn't do is she didn't give up her citizenship. And you have to do that in China. And they're using this girl, China is, against us and the world, right? She was born and raised in California. She actually skied in the earlier days of her life to, for the U.S. And they've pressed her on it because when you hit 18, you have to make a choice. Now, China can do whatever they want. They call her the Snow Princess, right? And this is so much about money. By the way, her mother is a venture capitalist in China. You don't think that plays a portion? There's a portion that plays into this. Of course it does, right? It's like they're recruiting her to come over there, like guys and gals get recruited to play sports, in particular guys, for back in the day. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, you know what? Come play at our school, and you know what? Your mom could be a paralegal for this guy that we know, and we're going to pay her $200,000 a year. Some baloney like that. But I've said all along, and I've gotten a lot of blowback from people. They're like, well, she's young. And I said, you know what? She made a choice. You made a choice. And your choice was this. You wanted all that America, all the opportunities. The other day, you're up there. People pressed you on it. Are you a Chinese citizen? Did you give up your passport to represent China? And she, I just don't like hate, and I just don't know why people always say sports should bridge us, and she keeps saying those kind of things. She never answers it yes or no. She should definitely be in politics. But if they asked her about Peng Shuai, she's like, oh, she's great. She's fine. That's the tennis player that magically disappeared but then resurfaced weeks later, and then every time there's a video of her, it looks like it's a hostage video. You chose. You were never making this. And I don't fault some people. Soccer, it's very incestuous in soccer, especially in places like Europe, right? You're born in Germany, but your mother is from Portugal, your father is from America, and you want to play in the World Cup, and you could represent all three. Oh, that's weird. But none of them make you give up your passport. None of them say, hey, choose us. She made a conscious choice. She goes, I'm proud of my heritage and my equally proud of my American upbringing. Okay, enjoy it. And by the way, she's brilliant. She's going to go to Stanford. She's going to do, and by the way, model-wise, she is making a ton of money. A absolute ton of money. On Instagram, she only got about 324,000 followers, about 113,000 on TikTok. She got over 2 million fans on Weibo. And when she won the other day in her event, Weibo had to shut down because of how many things were going on about her. You made a choice. She's got 20 sponsorship deals in China alone. You made that choice. So as far as I'm concerned, I can't believe you'd say that. No, I'm just being honest. If you make that choice, when I first went over to Europe to play, and I was younger, and everybody's like, "Oh, you should, if you had a chance to play for America or England, da 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 da," and I'm like, it was only ever one choice. It was only ever one choice. If I could have, I would have played for the United States. It would have been a no-brainer because that's my home. That's it. That's my home. That's my country. That's who I'd fight and die for. And I love England. England was my second home. But you sold out. So enjoy being a pawn, Snow Princess, as they call you. You are a sellout. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. ESPN, speaking of sports. Now, normally I don't do a lot of stuff with Project Veritas. Here's my thing with them. If you go and look and see how many times they've been sued, you realize they've won like a vast majority of the lawsuits against them. The legacy media hates them because they do expose a lot of stuff. Now, you can question some of it. Even the ACLU, who's defended them on a few occasions, said, look, you can question some of their methods. But they do expose a lot of stuff. And if you're attacking them, in many ways, you're attacking journalism. But they had a guy at ESPN who was a Trump supporter and he was white. And he caught a lot of stuff on tape. And he's raised a bunch of questions. And ESPN over the last several years has been very woke, and they have seen their numbers decline precipitously.
So I'm Trevor Adams. I'm a studio operator for ESPN. Ever since I started with ESPN, I've just witnessed lots of discrimination, racism.
Conversations that have been had in front of me at work, just blatantly racist, just blatantly complaining to me that we have 3 white hosts. And I'm like, what do you want me? Do you want me to leave? You know my work. I got to the point a couple weeks ago where I had to say to somebody, do you not know my work ethic? We've known each other for 4 years. Do I not deserve to be here?
That is Alyssa Lang. She is the host of their SEC network. She's also on ESPN Radio, ESPN. She's on Sirius. She is white. And they've said that to her. They've looked right at her. She's a white woman and said, we had too many white people on the set. Oh, wait, what? We have too many white people on the set. And this is not, I don't think this should shock anybody, right? But they became what a lot of these companies have. They wanted to get woke. They decided that social sides of things were going to matter more. And they were more worried about the being a part of a social movement than so many Hollywood, so many other things that are happening out there is the reason you are who you are is because you made entertainment, you covered sports. Now you've decided you're going to just do messaging, and then you wonder why nobody wants to listen to any of your messages because you stopped being entertaining.
As we just saw with the Maria Taylor and Rachel Nichols situation.
Exactly. And like I said, at the end of the day, they're choosing between us and social media reaction.
The BLM movement, the diversity, the racial and social justice, platforms that ESPN has propped it up, pushed forward, every right to do that. But yet when you come here to work every day...
That's not how it is.
No, it's not. But that's what we've created. We've allowed to happen. Is we've allowed this creation of the results no longer matter. What matters is the picture that we took and we put out there on social media, is the stance that we took, even though we may not believe it. Does that make people feel that we're a good group of people and a great company to work with and do business with? But when you get in there, you realize, no, this isn't what people are looking for. They're not happy here. And BLM, by the way, which is, and we're going to touch on it just briefly, we might get into it a little bit later, but if you're not seeing what's going on with them, they raised $90 million after the George Floyd thing. Then lo and behold, Patrice Cullors who's like the head Marxist who runs the group. She's buying houses, and she's got a giant house up in Canada, and like her 4 neighbors all are a part of this where this money was transferred to. They're all part of something. She no longer works for BLM. She said she turned it over to other people. These 2 other people are like, we never knew it. Nobody knows where any of the money is. And all the woke people who gave them money in all the states who allowed stuff to happen are now shutting them down, saying, you guys you've no transparency. You've done nothing. But it's that want to be seen as virtuous. It's that want to be seen as this, look at us. Don't look at my actions. Just look at how good we are. Don't look on whether or not our product's any good. Just look and see that it's socially aware.
But sports are considered by the people who don't pay attention to politics to be a non-political thing. That might surprise or maybe not surprise many, but it might surprise still a few that this is affecting sports.
They've jumped too much into this stuff that's going on outside. Like, especially with the Black Lives Matter thing. They dove into that to try to be like a face for it all. But then at the same time, it kind of backlashed because now they have to do it for everything. And then at the same time, since they started doing that, now they're playing more of a role on racism and whatnot.
Yeah. That's it. More of a role in racism. More in a role in... Your job is to be about sports, right? This is your Total Sport. This is what it is. You got Total Sports Network. You got the Canadian Broadcast Company. You got all of these companies, not just ESPN, that decided to go uber woke, and they forgot what it was that they were about. And it's a shame because I love sports, but it's tough to watch at times. I love sports. But Chad, you just talked about that girl left us, right? That Lang Gu, she left us. She decided she didn't want to be part of America. It's nothing to do with her race. It's all to do with she decided she didn't want to be part of our country. She made a political statement for a country that, by the way, the ESPN loves being in, that basketball clamors to be in for and is terrified to lose any of their endorsements or whatnot. Again, it's about socially being accepted, but it's not about the reality of the actions. And ESPN, they have lost a ton of people. Even friends of mine who are progressives, like, I can't watch it anymore. It's like they preach at me. Like, it's a 2-2 pitch. I don't need to know about something from the LGBT community here in the 2-2 pitch. Just tell me, that's kind of what it is. But for companies, and we have talked about it for years, they're fine with a down market. They're fine with a slowing economy at times. What they're not fine with is the fear of social media, when one person may tweet something against you and then all of a sudden you react to it because they think, uh-oh, people might not like us. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We got more about this. We're going to talk about on the other side just the insanity of, like, Showtime's a perfect example of their new show they have coming out, which is, if this was any other group, you'd be like, are you kidding me? Are you? Nutrisystem, losing weight, mightily important. Again, we've talked about that. And for some things, you need to go big. For other things, guys, most of us, we have 30, 40 pounds. What are we going to do? Well, what we're not going to do, let's be honest. We're not going to go eating rice cakes all day and like one can of tuna every 6 days. And that isn't going to happen. We want something sustainable, but we also want something that tastes good. That's where Nutrisystem comes in. Right now, 50% off all of their plans. Ladies, you can participate too, because that's always nice. But guys, up to 30 grams of proteins in their meals. It's filling. It is not going to leave you hungry. And most importantly, it's not going to make you go, oh, God, that's awful. Because it's not. It's delicious. Today, I'm going to have Mediterranean pizza that tastes good. Now, in the past, I've tried diet food, and it tastes like the box it came in. Not here. Simple and easy to make. Comes directly to you. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, snacks, indeed. It's Nutrisystem, baby. You're going to love it. They got bean and beef burritos. They've got, I had what I have the other night. I had chicken and dumplings. They've got sesame beef with broccoli. You name it, they've got it. And with their nutritional science that it's advanced, it's going to help you with your blood sugars. What that does is it keeps them steady. You start dropping the weight. I don't know. I'm down like 15 pounds. Feel great. Tons of energy. Nutrisystem.com/Chad right now. Go. 50% off. Nutrisystem.com/Chad. Nutrisystem.com/Chad. Saves you 50%. Results vary. Offer restrictions apply. See website for details. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverent? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
I do want to get into this crazy Showtime thing. We might do it a little bit later. You can catch the podcast if you don't get it in your time in there. It's just, I'll just play a little bit of the trailer, but I think it needs more of an examination of this is what Showtime is throwing out.
I think what annoys me most about white people is when they pretend like they're the victim. What's also annoying is when they kill us.
What is fragile about whiteness when everything has been constructed around it?
Every part of who I am has been distorted or criminalized.
It's really just a bunch of white lies.
One of the definitions of American whiteness is ignorance.
White people, we are not your problem. You are.
Should white people today feel any responsibility for slavery?
Hell yeah.
The truth has to be told about history.
It's about obliterating systemic and institutionalized racism.
What is they gonna do?
Nothing, because white people are like, you're First of all, I think 90% of black people, they're not. They're like, whatever. What are you guys talking about? This is for the people that are super woke, extra, schooling for years, got 12 master's degrees, and that's them. But Showtime's like, let's do this. Let's do this. What, are white people fragile? Some are. Just like, by the way, everybody under 25, regardless of color, seems to be extremely fragile. Regardless of color. They seem to be ready to break on an instant. Just, oh my God, he fell apart. But it is funny. Imagine the opposite trailer, or saying something about Asians or Hispanics. Whoa, Chad. Just throw it out there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. More stuff coming up. If you don't get the show all the hours, grab the podcast where available. 'Tis my show. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
That is me. You are you, and you are beautiful, baby. Regardless of what you believe. The want to continually hold this narrative of hey, guys, masking is stupid. Masking is look, masking is over. Stupid, not stupid, it's over. People have a breaking point. That's where we are. Stop fighting about it. The states are starting to turn things back, but there always was going to be a group of people that were going to be playing this game. That piece we did on the Atlantic, I think it was, or maybe it was New York Magazine, I think it was the Atlantic, and it was probably 6 months ago. And they said the hardest thing that will come out of this pandemic is getting cities, municipalities, counties, and states, and the federal government to unwind their powers. You're like, oh, yeah. And that has absolutely been so true. So true. Yesterday, as cities and states across the country are going, all right, this is it. We can't do it anymore. Right? We can't do it. New York Governor Hochul.
This is trending in a very, very good direction, and that is why we are now approaching a new phase in this pandemic. So we had a mask or vax requirement for businesses. It was an emergency temporary measure put in place literally 2 months ago. And at this time, we say that it is the right decision to lift this mandate for indoor businesses and let counties, cities, and businesses make their own decisions on what they want to do with respect to masks or the vaccination requirement.
Now, people got excited, but the reality is you're the governor. You're telling everybody you can kind of do what you want to do, right? Like the cities, we're going to let you guys decide. We're going to let everybody decide. By the way, if you want to wear a mask, knock yourself out. If you don't want to wear a mask, knock yourself out. If you're terrified of what's going on, then don't leave the house. If you're vaccinated and boosted, I'm going to give you some statistics. Take it for what it is. The CDC has done a study along with the National Institute on Health, and they have printed this study. And here's the study. Throw this out there, guys. I'm going to give it to you. As we like to say, we're going to keep it simple, stupid. Million people. Okay, so million people. Write that down, million people. 700,000 of them were vaccinated. 300,000 weren't. They weren't. Okay, so 700,000 were, 300,000 weren't. Under 65 in the 700,000 vaccinated and or boosted during the time of Delta, not Omicron, but Delta, 0 deaths. 0. In total, 37 deaths. One person died under 65 that had nothing to do with, it was like probably, hit by a bus. I don't know. And then 36, I guess, died over the age of 65, of which 4 comorbidities. So you do the math there. Oh, yeah. Let people live their lives. We've gotten to the point now where it's time to move on. But some do not want to allow that to happen. Jen Psaki.
We understand where the emotions of the country are,
no,
right?
We don't.
People are tired of masks. I would say not even if you look at the polling, though. There is also a huge chunk of people who still want masks, right? So it's not even that specific. It's just that, as you noted, there are some states that are moving towards rolling back or giving more choice to local communities about how they will implement these requirements.
Oh, Jen. Yes, Chad. What poll is that? What data is that? Can you point me to that polling data that says there's a large swath of people that want to continue to mask? Can you put me to that? Because I love data. I want to look at it. You may be absolutely right. But I would love to see the data there that you're telling us about. Right? So so please, if you could just humor me. That's all I'm asking. You can't, because there isn't data anywhere that says, hey, let's all mask up. Even people who are in mask, a majority of them, they don't want anything to do with a mask, but they're terrified. They are. I love it when they say, trust the science, and then science, science changes. It's been pretty clear from the beginning, especially, and adults is one thing, but the kids, it's over. The damage is being done to our children is criminal. My son's blessed. He's got a lot of other things to do. A lot of people don't have that. But my little brother, who is the same age as my son, just turned 12 yesterday. Happy birthday, Elijah. He, who's got some learning issues, has slid back down to the point where it is insane. Younger children are having issues with facial cues and recognition and learning language because they can't see people talking. Part of what it is visual, not just hearing. And we still tell kids to mask up when we know the data and the science has said from the beginning it doesn't do a damn thing to kids. It doesn't do anything. Well, the spread, they don't spread it to adults. If you're vaccinated and you want to wear a mask and you're a teacher, you're going to be fine. But they can't let it go. And that brings me to this. The latest in democracy with the most and least democratic places. Norway, New Zealand, Finland, Sweden, Iceland, they round out the top 5. Afghanistan, Myanmar, North Korea, Laos, and China, they round out the top 5 for the worst. But what they go into here, and this is from the Economist Intelligence Unit, it's a documentary index, and this is for 2021, is that the negative impact of lockdowns and travel restrictions has resulted in an unprecedented withdrawal of civil liberties among developing democracy as well as developed democracies and authoritarian regimes. The normalization of emergency powers, which tend to stay in the statute books and accustomize citizens to huge extension of state power over large areas of public and personal life. Oh, yeah. Translation. We have ceded control to people who, in many cases, people were terrified. Look at the beginning. I get it. But people were handing it over readily, the powers, because they thought, please save us, not understanding the ramifications, not getting the ramifications of what may happen. And now when they think, okay, enough is enough, oh, what are you finding out? They don't want to get back to power, right? They don't want it. They don't want to get back to power. You handed them a magic wand and said, hey, you can use this for a little while. And then when it was time to get the power back and the wand, they're like, no. No. And no matter what, and there's always going to be those people now that are freaked out over everything, because we also have a society that can no longer understand risk. I don't know what I don't know what happened there. I really don't. I don't know what took place in the world where we've stopped having an understanding of risk reward. You know, like I said yesterday, I drive woke up at 2:15. I was on the road about 2:35 this morning. I drive 65 miles on a long stretch of road on the 10 between Tucson, basically, and Phoenix. It's pretty desolate. A lot of cars go between there. That's a risk. Get on an airplane. It's a risk. I mean, you could start going down the risk reward thing. We've stopped doing that. And now people just want to cede their powers and their risk and look at federal and state governments and say, please save me. But what we've really done is we've done a disservice to children. And it's continuing in places where it shouldn't. Enough is enough. And something I always tell the teachers, because I saw Randy Weingart, she is the president of the American Teacher Federation. She's it. She essentially says, we'll go non-mask when we can get to right around zero COVID, which you know is never going to happen. But remind them this, customers. That's what those kids are and their parents are. I'm a customer. So when you come to me in 3 months and say we need to have taxes raised to pay for this, when you come to me in 3 months and say we need to do all of these bonds because of this and we're doing it for the children, you'll remind them, I took my kids out of your school, put them somewhere else where they could be kids, or F you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Love hearing from all of you. I do. The good, the bad, all of that stuff. And trust me, there's bad. You don't think so. I'm a fun-loving guy, but there's bad. MyPillow has all kinds of goodies going on. Deep discounts across their entire MyPillow catalogs. $19.99 for the MyPillow. Giza Dream Sheets at the lowest level ever. You've got the mattress topper and everything. But right now, you go to MyPillow.com. Use that promo code Benson. When you do that, what they're going to do. They're going to throw in Mike Lindell's book for free, right? This guy was a crack addict and who built up an empire that was, and it's amazing. His story is amazing. So go there now, MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. Save big. Mattress toppers, MyPillow's $19.99. The Giza Dream Sheets, the My Slippers, 6-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. You're going to love all of these products and get a free book from Mike Lindell. MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
The President of the United States. My fellow Jamaicans, our nation is in crisis. The Decepticon variant Hobo 19 is still killing fat people. Inflation is destroying our fart jars, and now that Ukraine is being sexually raped. That is why I've asked Congress to order a full-scale attack on Joe Rogan. Not Joe Rogan, the Russian guy. The guy with the shirt. Pootie Tang, man. Bad dude. We gotta come together, man. Get this guy. He's got our cranes. He's got all the cranes. We need him for the better build back. The build back better. The better build back better plan, man. You say it 3 times fast, pal. You say it.
It's Kyle Dunnigan. His Biden his mannerisms are great, but it's his voice isn't quite there, and he does, he does great stuff, right? Like I like him better than the dude on Saturday Night Live. Guy on Saturday Night Live does the best. Trump, but his is good. Dana Carver's good, but it's the word flow, right? Like, first of all, I love the fact that he says,
my fellow Jamaicans.
But this is great, this right here, because he makes something up, as he would.
The Decepticon variant Hobo 19 is still killing fat people.
But the best part is, this is so Joe Biden, the mumbling and making just weird, none of it means anything.
Inflation is destroying our fart jars, and now that
inflation's destroying our fart jars? That is very much Joe Biden-esque indeed. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Something not to be excited about, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Oh, my Lord, inflation.
The index that measures what consumers pay for things jumped 7.5% in January compared to the same month a year earlier. It is the biggest annual jump since 1982. Inflation doesn't seem to be stopping consumers from buying. There's high demand for goods and services, but short supply in the aftermath of pandemic-hampered production. Inflation does negate wage growth as it eats into household paychecks.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. So even if your check grew by, like if you live in Arizona, right, Phoenix, your check grew by 7%. You're like, that's great, I got a raise, 7%. If inflation went up, as it did here, 9.5%, no, you took a 2.5% pay cut. Oh. New report and study out says $250 a month on average is what families are going to have to pay extra this year. So $3,000 a year. Now, different parts of the country, that's going to be $4,000 or $5,000 based on the cost of gas. Other parts, it's going to be right around there. But I think we all know that's a low estimate. Go to the grocery store. That 7.5% adds up. And instead of paying your normal $250 or whatever, you're paying $325, $375. That doesn't even include the fact that gas is through the roof and continuing to potentially rise. So it's not what it seems. I mean, that these are just rough estimates. Here's the other thing. Who does it hurt the most? I mean, I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. I work my butt off. I do. And I love what I do. And I have sacrificed that, but I'm blessed. We bitch. Man, it cost me how much to put gas in the car? But I'm okay. But the average family who are living at that paycheck line that were maybe putting away $100 here, $100 there, now you're making choices of what you can and can't do, can and can't eat. That's big. And for people at or below the poverty line, this hits you hard. Much harder. So now the question is, what's Biden going to do? Because even though not all of it's his fault, the reality is you're still the coach. Coach is going to get the blame. In America, us people, we're the quarterback, and you don't get rid of the quarterback over the coach. Doesn't happen that way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Got some great shows coming from Showtime. We'll talk about that. Al Sharpton is upset about dental hygiene stuff. Not really, but kinda, which makes me laugh. Talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
One of the things trending right now is crack pipe Biden. We'll talk about that. It's kind of funny because not so much what's in the thing or not in this new safe smoking kit, because it's just the way that they talk about it and try to fact check it without anybody ever answering an actual question with a yes or no about the crack pipe is hilarious. All that being said, MSNBC, which is as left as you're going to find out there, they've got the Morning Joe, which is like their big thing now because, you know, they gave, what's her name, $30 million, Rachel Maddow, and she's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go make a movie and do a podcast every once in a great while and maybe do my show. And then they've got Chris. Nobody pays attention to that. But they had Al Sharpton on talking about what? Crime. Crime is through the roof in a lot of places. Now, is it through the roof 70s, 80s, early 90s style? No, it's not. But because we live in a protective bubble, it's disturbing because we've enjoyed 25 years of pretty much peace and comfort of, hey, so you do something bad, you're going to go to jail. And now it's brazen. Now it's ridiculous, right? Like people just walking in, take crap all the time. Nobody stops anybody. And they want to arrest anybody from New York to Seattle to San Francisco to Chicago. It's just basically let them run free and do stuff. And it really started to pick up steam towards the end of last year in California. You saw the brazing, people just walking in major department stores and walking out and nobody stopping them. And it's because you have all these super woke DAs. I always tell everybody, once it affects certain people, people are like, oh, well, hold on a second. That's not right. Right, like that's not right. And Al Sharpton was a little upset because of toothpaste.
You cannot have a culture where people are just at random, just robbing and stealing and is out of control and is put on the front page of newspapers, which only encourages others to do it. In fairness to Eric, he's only been mayor 5 weeks, but even as unfair to him, Eric, they're locking up my toothpaste.
Yes, that's Al Sharpton, the race baiting king, the guy that lives and finds race everywhere. You got a black mayor, you got a black DA who's already said, well, I'm not going to lock people up because we I agree 100%. We have over incarcerated people of color. When you want to talk about true racism, systemic racism, people of color, the biggest suffering they've had in the last umpteen years is no doubt in sentencing of crimes. That's where you look and say, that right there is, there's your systemic racism. That's the system itself, from crack cocaine and all of these things. That being said, if somebody walks into a Target and steals $900 worth of stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to prosecute, we're not going to do anything, that's a collapsing of society. For the last, I don't know how long, I bet like every one of you, the Walmart, the Target, whatever you have in your neighborhood for your grocery store that you go to, has been locking up their diapers, has been locking up their baby formula, has been locking up their cigarettes, has been locking up so many. Why is that? Now they're locking up toothpaste. I get my blades to shave my face, and I've got a beard and stuff, so it's not like do it. But I order them because it's easier. Why? Because I don't want to go somewhere and have to stand in line to ask some 17-year-old kid if he can unlock the blades for this. Now it's toothpaste. Allowing the kids to not eat, that's always the thing, right? You guys, if you stop this and you arrest people, you're basically allowing kids to starve because these people are only doing it for their families. That's crap. And here's the other thing. They're fine victimizing, and they know the game. They'll as easily rob you, who's sitting there trying to protect them. Mayor Adams. By the way, Bragg, who's the DA, when he first became the DA, and he's one of those woke DAs, right? A ton of money that came from one of Soros's groups, right? So he gets in there, and they've pulled money back, by the way, apparently from him, because there's some allegations of in his office of sexual misconduct or something like that. I don't think it was him, but he came in with the same kind of craziness that you see in San Francisco and Seattle and Los Angeles, and of we're not going to prosecute our way out of this, so we're just going to allow people to do whatever they want. And Mayor Adams, who's a Democrat and a former cop, pushed back hard, as did the people who said, no, we don't think this is going to happen. And he's already backtracking on several of the things that he said, we're not going to prosecute, because he realizes, as a DA, by the way, if you're a district attorney, you don't get reelected by being on the front page every day. And by that, I mean your work. And by that, I mean crime. And every time you're on there, while your name isn't mentioned as the lead, at the bottom is where your name is buried, and that is the lead and should be the headline. And what does it always say? DA refuses to prosecute crimes like these. And the statistics they always point out are they're hilarious. Crime was down last year. Crime's not crime if you don't prosecute it. If you go and steal a bunch of people's stuff and then nobody says, they call the police and they say, well, we're not going to do anything. That still happened to you, didn't it? Or am I? Oh, yeah, maybe it did. But it doesn't count as a statistic. It's frustrating. It is. I'm telling you guys. The fact that she's pissed off. God, they're locking up my toothpaste. That's how he really talks. Hey, guys, how you doing? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Speaking of crack pipes, because we were talking about crack, and let's be real, in the 70s and 80s, once crack came along, and then you got the mandatory minimums, you did all this stuff, you saw what happened to the black community. It was decimated, and there's the problems we should be in that 1994 bill, that crime bill. I don't know who was a part of that. I don't even know what happened to that guy. Biden guy. I don't know what happened to him. But now we got a different situation with crack. And if you guys have not seen this, it's a safe smoking kit. Safe smoking kit. So what is in the safe smoking kit. Well, that's the big thing. Is it full of crack pipes, as some people would say?
The Biden administration is going to be sending crack pipes and meth pipes targeting minority communities in this country. I know that sounds insane. I know that sounds too crazy to be true. They confirmed it yesterday. They call them smoking kits, and they say it's about equity, but they have in essence confirmed that they're going to be mailing and sending pipes that can be used to smoke crack and meth to underserved communities in America. This is insanity. This isn't even about liberal and conservative anymore. This is about crazy versus normal, insane versus common sense. Where does this end?
Now, first of all, those people need help. They don't need a safe smoking kit. But they're not going to get the help they need because governments aren't interested in it. And they're another way to help their buddies and pals make money with affordable housing and nonprofits and safe smoking kits. And it's a great way for Republicans to go, oh, this homelessness and crack problems, they all need to go away. Nobody's really interested in solving that problem per se. But nobody would ever give the answer. That's the big thing. When I looked at the fact checkers, because I'm like, I know some of them had that. And of course, you've got rooms now where you can go shoot up and all of those things. Some of these things have safe smoking kit crack pipes in them. They do. Pipes. That's it. Do some other ones not? I don't know. Because when asked and pressed on numerous occasions, the runaround has been pretty tremendous with, well, maybe, not really. You guys are taking out of context. People need help. They do. It's, and it should be frustrating to all of us. We see the homeless insanity around the country and the growth of it. You've got mental illness and you have drugs. And their thought process, well, it's $30 million. I'm sure one of their buddies is going to put these safe smoking kits together. It'll cost $1.50. Supposedly inside of them, disinfected wipes, brass-filtered screens, rubber mouthpieces, which is supposed to stop, transmission of certain things. But when asked and pressed, Psaki's like, oh, it's just a horrible way for the Republicans to come after it. Yeah, but is there pipes in there? This is a true or false, yes or no thing. Yes or no, true or false. Pipes in there, yes or no. It's because they don't like people who are homeless and have drug problems. That wasn't the answer. I want a yes or no. And when you go look at the fact checkers, because I don't know what's in them, some of them probably have pipes. They say that. Articles and studies and public health documents routinely refer to pipes as one of the components of smoking kits. Well, is that this? Will there be pipes in there? It's a yes or no question. You don't have to, don't give me a word salad. Yes or no. Oh. So, and she comes back with, well, Republicans, they just basically, they're liars and they hate homeless people and drug addicts. Okay, that's where you're going to go with this. So you're not going to give me a yes or no, because if you do, you're going to be on the record for lying if there turns out to be some. And probably because you don't even know. There probably was going to be till somebody raised hell. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. I'm going to play this thing in a minute. And you guys, when you hear this, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's just this insanity. Plus, I'm going to give you my Super Bowl pick comes tomorrow, but today we're breaking down the special teams and who's got an advantage there. Tons of energy. I've got it. Reason? Simple. Body Starter Pack. It's a healthy body starter pack. It comes from my buddies over at Youngevity. Right now, free shipping to everybody out there. Do you want less joint pain? Do you want better sleep? Do you want more energy instead of going when you have the energy lulls in the middle of the day and you want to feel like you've got a clearer head? This is what it's all about. It starts in the morning with my tangy tangerine drink. Oh, man. Yeah, 90 essential nutrients. It's delicious. Absolutely incredible. I also take my Beyond Osteo FX magnesium formula, great for absorption. And then the thing I think just helps my brain as well as my heart is the Ultimate EFA, full of omegas. It's just awesome. I don't get a ton of sleep. I don't always eat great, but I got tons of energy, and I go, go, go. Thank you, Youngevity. Right now, try all of these things. Get free shipping. Go to ChadBensonHealth.com, ChadBensonHealth.com. Do it for yourself. Feel the difference. See the difference. Take advantage of free shipping. ChadBensonHealth.com or call 855-321-HEALTH. 855-321-HEALTH. Chad Benson Show.
Podcasts are American as hot dogs, apple pie, football, and sushi.
Oh my goodness. No.
Okay, maybe not sushi. Next time you have a craving for something sweet and tangy, download a Chad Benson Show podcast.
Boy, that is good. It's different because you get a little bit of saltiness.
It's so good because it's sweet and salty at the same time.
Get a taste on iTunes, iHeart, or Spotify and binge to your ear's content.
Oh, yeah.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
So if the only reason you don't want to date someone boils down to the fact that they're trans, that's transphobia right there. Let's go over a couple of situations. So if you don't want to date a trans woman because you want kids, well, you better be keeping that same attitude with cis women who are infertile, or that's transphobia. If you don't want to date a trans woman because you're not attracted...
Wait. So if I date a cis woman... and then I find out that she can't have kids, but I want kids, and I decide to break up with her, I'm transphobic? You've lost me here.
With cis women who are infertile, or that's transphobia. If you don't want to date a trans woman because you're not attracted to trans women, I would absolutely love to know how you're able to identify correctly who is a trans woman on site 100% of the time, because that is just impressive.
Really? That's really like 100% of the time? Really?
And then also just being super straight is the all lives matter of sexualities. It's not a real sexuality. It literally is just something that's made up to make fun of trans people and to hate on trans people. So, yes, super straights, I don't respect you and I don't respect that sexuality. Bye.
See you later. Are you super straight? I'm just straight. Is there super straight? I don't. Good God. It's a cult. It is. It is an absolute cult. And I'm telling you, the lawsuits, they're going to be coming in the future. You're starting to see it already in the UK and several other places for people who are now like in their early 20s going to their doctors saying, I'm suing you. How could you let me do these things? It is, it's going to be big. But that's just, I don't respect you because you've chosen to only like the opposite sex. But for you, if we don't get on your cult train, somehow we're bad people. Somehow. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. All right, breakdown Super Bowl. I'll give you my pick tomorrow. Already did the Rams and the Bengals offense. I gave a nod to the Rams. The defense, a little bit more to the Rams because they've got so many more playmakers over there. And now the special teams. This is the Bengals all the way. Punt team is good. Coverage team is good. But their kicker separates it. Brian Gay's had an okay year for the Rams, but McPherson has hit field goal after field goal after field goal after field goal in absolute big moments, and he's got a leg for days. I give the Bengals the edge when it comes to special teams. Tomorrow we'll do coaching, and I'll give you my picks. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. You guys have a blessed day, and if I'll be damned. Is that? There it is. It's Friday. I see you Friday. Night, Jack.
The Chad Benson Show.